Hey, beautiful tribe. This is Sheea here, coming from Sarasota, Florida, which is my new location. In case you're going to come visit me for an intensive and get some serious Tantra coaching. And I also can be on the phone or on video to do the same. Of course, it's not as hands on. So, anyway, there are options. But I thought I would talk today and just say thank you for your patience because I did not film very much when I was in Austin. And I am motivated to do that here more so. It's more conducive because I was doing a lot of inner work, shadow work, inner masculine, balancing my feminine, and all that good stuff. So I thought I would talk today about, I've noticed I was a sociology major, so I'm aware of how our sexuality and our culture affects us, and a lot of the programming that happens around sexuality, thanks to media, dysfunctional media, and porn, and so forth. So I just want you to be aware that most of us are to some degree programmed by whether it's your religion, the media you watch, the porn you watch, and it does affect how your beliefs and your tendencies and whatnot around sexuality, which most likely is not serving you. A lot of life seems to be a deprogramming process. And I'm very aware just in working with women more and more how much, how much our culture, at least in America, because, I'm coming from Florida, and many of you know I spent a large part of my career, 18 years full time now, but a large part of it was in Maui, and also I'm from California. So, um, it just breaks my heart to see what has happened in our culture, and I'm glad to be a part of bringing it back around to where it should be because, we are, as Americans at least, so I'd like to think that maybe the French and so forth are better at this, and Latin America perhaps, or the Taoist communities and so forth. But there's a lot of ignorance around women's bodies, even to the point where I find, like I'm actually shocked how much American women have gotten out of touch with their bodies and just how things are supposed to be in their more ideal form. And I think we just got so programmed out of the truth that we're having to find our way back. And it's just sad for me to hear, like you've probably all heard of things like how women aren't experiencing orgasm most of the time when they're engaged. And then it just makes me curious, men, how that feels to hear that. Because if you weren't getting your orgasm when you're engaging with a partner, I think you would be heartbroken. And women are too. It's just that we're not talking about this enough. And so I'm calling it out where, there's this tendency for women to fake it because they're also under this weird programming from porn that they're just supposed to come within minutes, and it doesn't work that way. So men, you can get there in 2 minutes, whereas women, it takes 20 to 30 minutes to warm up the body enough to drop in to a body on a deeper level, to surrender and open, to shift gears from the day to day, which a lot of women are forced to be men during the day, working and managing so much, kids, marriage, their careers. It's not conducive to women being in their feminine and being more available as a sexual partner, because we have to go through this big shift in our consciousness to get into our feminine. It's a lot, it's asking a lot. It's not very realistic. So men, hopefully you can find some compassion around. I know that when you fully grok what women have gone through and the generations of even sexual abuse and neglect, not getting our orgasms, not being warmed up by you, perhaps, because you just didn't know. You're thinking that we're just built like you. We have like 10 to 30 times the testosterone like you do, but we don't. So, we need to be warmed up. And that's where men, I just want to inspire you to, um, become a good wooer, become a good courter, become a good flirt, and someone who's good at all the floor play, because it's a fun playground, and it's a skill. It's a skill to be sensual, because some people are not necessarily naturally rigged that way. And it's a big part of what works for women in getting us there, because we are not rockets or race cars. We have had to learn, unfortunately, to be very careful about who we open ourselves to, because of the neglect and abuse that has happened generationally. I mean, if you think back to the day that we were thought of as property, it's like, wow. Or that sex was just for procreation or something. These are really outdated modalities of thinking, and it takes us, and I'm referencing the Kwadoshka Native American sexual contribution to the field, because they go into the different body types and lover types, and it's fascinating stuff. And I loved doing their whole program that they do offer on is a long weekend experience, and there's level 1, 2, 3, etc. So they talk about how our anatomies are different, our genital anatomies are different, that women take 20 to 30 minutes to get fully engorged in all the proper areas, fully warmed up to be able to receive you, they're getting lubed up. And I'm going to say that it's really the man's job, if you want to see it that way, but the man's pleasure to get the woman there. You're going to have a lot more success if you know and have the skills of getting a woman from 0 to, 10, let's just say, if we use that kind of a scale, 10 being maybe, just full intimate engagement. You're going to be much more successful. You're going to have a much more activity in the bedroom, and a much more fulfilling sex if you know how to get a woman, or your woman, from 0 to 5 to 10. There is a progression that happens with women to get us ready for sexuality. So they talk about how, a man can just be like, hey, you want to have sex? Whereas to a woman, she's maybe doing the dishes, and she just can't get there in her mind. It's like you're asking her to go from 0 to 100, and she's not even warmed up. You maybe haven't even touched her, haven't flirted with her, haven't connected with her yet. So I just want to bring attention to all the skill sets that bring a woman to being ready. And so, men, you can get creative. This is where I love, the stories about the troubadours and the Renaissance, and how, courting and love was like an art form. And of course, that women really respond to that. And we need all these baby steps leading up to the big finale. And if you're wanting to just shoot for the end, and go straight for the finale, she's left behind. And that's an awful feeling. And I don't think men experience that as much as women, where I think a lot of women are experiencing that most of the time, unfortunately, just from statistics, of not getting our orgasm, lucky if we're getting pleasured enough. And it's just, women need to learn how to speak up. Men need to know how to ask questions and learn, because, one woman is different from another, but there are definitely things that you can do. Like, say you meet someone at a party, and you're interested, start asking questions, get to know her, she loves that kind of attention of someone genuinely wanting to know about her. And then, depending where you might be at in your relationship with a woman, um, or even at a party or something, you can even ask her if she would like for you to rub her feet or her shoulders or her hands. Especially for those of us who have touch as our number one love language, that's really important to not just be totally in the mind and conversing about stuff, but also, I know it's very powerful for me as a touch based person to also have them do some level of touch if they really want to move in the direction of, really connecting. I have some funny stories just, around sometimes. I mean, I know that verbal affirmation is a big love language for me too. And of course, so complimenting and flirting and all those creative things can be definitely part of the role play experience. And if you're too much into just getting to know each other and shutting down like the actual physicality of things, there were times when I just couldn't connect with a guy until he touched me. And then it was like a whole different world opened up. So sometimes, yeah, that's really key. And, so anyway, my point being that women don't respond to you just saying, hey, you want to have sex, or they don't respond to you going straight for their yoni genital parts right away because, women get activated from the top down. Whereas you, men, you get activated from your genitals up. And so if you want to be successful with women, you're going to start by massaging up here, doing a scalp massage, doing a neck massage, shoulder. That's a great way to start. That's why kissing often is referred to as the first base. And then you move down, and then, the breasts are involved, and then the belly, and then you move down, because that way she's warming up as you're moving down, and then she's ready and she's wet by that time that you get there. And then taking your time with the penetration process, if you're going as far as that and maybe you're an established couple, play around with going really slow in the penetration process. Men rush everything. It seems like you guys need to slow down and like learn how to be sensual and like take in every morsel of juiciness and sensuality and yumminess that's happening there. Otherwise, you are completely missing half of it, half of the enjoyability. And that's what makes a woman feel safe too, is slowing down, being present, is all about Tantra. And, even playing around the opening and just like taking your time, going in slow and, just slowing everything into slow motion, basically, instead of just inserting yourself, because it's a lot to all of a sudden have a member inside your body as a woman. And I think men forget that. I often refer to, hey, if you had someone jam something up your backside, is that going to work for you guys? No, you would go slow, lots of lube, inch in, you're warming up the area first and all that. So, thank God it's really fun to learn about sexuality and Tantra and all this good stuff. So, um, keep watching YouTubes and educating yourself. There's also different Tantra weekends or week-long retreats that you can do with or without a partner that are out there. And we just need to educate ourselves. There's so much to know around sexuality that I think you would almost be embarrassed to think, wow, I had no idea about all this. I feel so uneducated, when you actually get in there and really dive and start learning about all this stuff. Because I don't know, it seems like there's some funny concept like we're just supposed to know this stuff already, and that it's pretty straightforward, but there's actually a lot to know about women. Women are more complex, and there's a lot of skill that goes into knowing how to be with a woman and to consciously seduce her into being intimate. And she, like I said, she needs time and some skill and you start with her pleasure. Otherwise, if you are wondering why she's not into it, not interested, not initiating, you're the fire bearer, you're the fire stoker, you're the one, men, that has all that testosterone. So if you're motivated and you're wanting to connect with your woman, then your job is to coax her into that direction and know what works for your woman to get her there. Ask her, what would, are there any particular things that really work for you? And usually it's some level of massage and pleasuring her, bringing her to orgasm first, because then she is warmed up and juiced up for you before you enter. Um, and otherwise, you're going to find that you're way past her. She's can't keep up. She's just not energetically there yet. And you're cheating yourself, men, from all the magic that women hold in their yonis. It's a whole yoni-verse of experience that I think a lot of men lose out on and just aren't tapping into. Your job is to really ignite a woman, to tap into her so she can tap into herself, and then you end up getting so much more in the end. And I think we need to remember that, like, there is, when you ignite a woman and know how to get her there, then you're able to get so much higher than you thought you could have by doing these shortcuts. So anyway, I hope you appreciate that. It's good to be with you all again, and I'm looking forward to this being a continual thing so we can turn this whole ship around love and relationships and sexuality, and making Tantra the new norm.